Well, I have heard and read that stuff, and it's intriguing, and there's no doubt that the solar system could have been rearranged in a periodic catastrophe of some kind. But I think what actually, Saturn is a device that is creating linear time in the solar system. It's a timing device, and it's a higher dimensional timing device that allows a semi-linear stream of time. And this is being done because the only way that certain powers can get things done is through taking us out of a polychronic world, i.e. hunter-gatherer or farmers or people who don't really, they just get up when the sun goes up and they go to bed when the sun goes down, to a monochronic world where we can all meet on airplanes and create machines and factories and go to work all at the same time. And so Saturn is the god that sets us. He sets us into something, and then we can't get out. And it's a trap. It's a time trap. And that's what I think Saturn is. And I think all the symbology around Saturn shows that it's a time trap. And he needs human sacrifice to keep going. In other words, old man time it turned into young baby time only through the sacrifice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So there's a sacrifice that has to happen, and he's carrying the scythe because he's the Grim Reaper also.
That's right.
He's and he's coming through and he's gathering up the bodies. Well, what is he gathering up the bodies for? What does he need that for? Because he's sucking the energy of those bodies. That's what he's doing. And he's the Grim Reaper. So he's the Grim Reaper, he's Father Time, he's Kronos, he's Satan, he's Set, he's he is the embodiment of this kind of time trap that we're all caught in right now. And when we can break from the time trap, then we'll be free of Saturn and things. But the solar system does look like it was constructed as a time trap for us. Why, I can't say, except slavery reasons.
Interesting. In one of the mythological stories as well, he ends up eating his own children. We have this
That's
aspect
right.
of sacrifice again. It needs a sacrifice in order to continue its own process in one sense, and that's obviously an obvious tie-in to this idea that we have ritualistic / satanic sacrifices taking place at the same time as there is certain this weird sexual behavior that we talked about earlier, pedophilia, what have you. Seems we have the murder aspect tied in with that as well, don't we, Jay?
That's right. To me, it's all connected, and it's exactly what Stenli Kjubrik is saying. The overarching story that connects all of his films together is that if only he'd been allowed to keep it Saturn in 2001, it would be clear and obvious that this is what he's doing. Mm-hmm. But unfortunately, he changed it to Jupiter, and the only reason that we even know that it was Saturn is because special effects technicians like Douglas Trumbull have come forth and said that, they spent a year designing Saturn, and then they had to throw it out and go to Jupiter. But I think, yes, I think, it's I'll just be explicit here. It is a Saturnian cult that is archon-based, and the archons, the word for archon in Greek is arctos, which means bear. Okay, so the secret word for archons among themselves is bear, and he put bears all over his films, everywhere. All over him. In AI, the kid has a genetically modified teddy bear.
That's right.
And he's saying, and think about this. Who would want to buy a 12-year-old lifelike boy that never ages? Would a mother really want a boy that never ages, never gets married, never goes to college, never has a job, never has a career? No. There's really only one group that would want a boy or a girl that would never age. Okay? Kjubrick had to know this when he started it. And I believe, and I can prove, and I will prove, beyond any shadow of a doubt, that he was making a conspicuous film about a pedophile cult that was using these robots. And it was going to be explosive, believe me.
Interesting. I mean, overall, the bear cult seems to be one of the oldest animal worshipping cults there is on the planet as well. If we look at some of the art around the world in many of the cave systems and so forth as well,
right.
Bears are always coming up in one way or another. Now, do you personally believe that this has to do an astrological connection to Ursa Major, or is it, as you say here, is it more, on the nose obvious that this is tied to Saturn then in some way, are you saying?
Well, yeah, I mean, I have to get into kind of like odd hyperdimensional physics, but it's like if you want to enter into the Earth stream from outside, you've got to come in on the North Pole. It's a hyperdimensional thing, but it take me an hour or two to explain it in the physics of it. But the path of least resistance would be to come in at the North Pole. But the ancient texts, the Nag Hammadi, they insinuate that the archons come from the region of Saturn. Mm-hmm. Now, a lot of people think, oh, it means Set or Satan and all that. And it may be, I don't know. But so I believe that they enter in through the North Pole, and they come down in here and commiserate with us, and they suck the life of the planet and of us, and that's what they're doing. And they're keeping the planet and us on life support so that they can continuously drain our energy. They love war and death. And the three religions of Jupiter or Jehovah are the warrior religions, the religions that want to kill and destroy. And I guess the ultimate wet dream of the chief archon is for the Islamists, the Christians, and the Jews to just murder each other in a gigantic ritual bloodbath. Right. And that does seem to be what is going on here. And the people who think that there's democracy coming to Egypt are out of their minds. Muslim Brotherhood is one of the most radical organizations possible. Islam is, I'm not going to make any friends here, but Islam, as John Lash says, is the third variation of this disease, and it will be the worst. So we have a very dangerous thing going on here where a Saturnian cult, or a Jehovian cult, is going to take over the world, and this Jehovian cult is ruled by a secret Saturnian cult. And it's really quite terrifying, and I don't know what's going to happen. Some of my favorite cities in Europe are being destroyed by the Islamists. I'm sorry to say it, but they're ruining everything, and they're ruining the United States. And these people are fanatics and scary, and they follow a vicious, bloodthirsty, warmongering God, basically.
I want to talk more about that in our next hour here as well. I know that there's interesting connections there in terms of some of the things